already 90% of businesses have plans to, in the next year, to implement some sort of AI.
There is some misconception about AI.
So it's not just a chat GPT for helping you write a better email. There's a feel, an instinct that AI probably doesn't have. I think the brokers are going to come around fast. They're going to see this makes me do my work more effectively.
Hello and welcome to The Concrete Voice. My name is Arthur Ambartsumian, your trusted guide to everything commercial real estate technology. And today our guest is Todd Terry. Todd, can you please introduce yourself to us?
Yes, hello, I'm Todd Terry. I'm one of the co-founders of Ascendix Technologies, and I'm very happy to be here speaking with my good friend Arthur, talk about AI and commercial real estate.
Awesome, thank you. As you said, today we are talking about AI agents and particularly in commercial real estate. And I know that as you spent most of your life in technology, you probably know that AI agents is not a new term, and it is getting a lot of attention. So it's a hot topic, it's a trending topic, but what do you think makes it particularly exciting in commercial real estate?
It's an excellent question. So, it's exciting for business in general. Enterprises, if you think about back in the, let's say, 2010s, you would even hear CIOs say, I'm not going to the cloud. They were resisting change because of one reason or another. They were protecting their data or they didn't see the value. You're not hearing that today with artificial intelligence. In fact, I see it as a fear of missing out. Everyone sees the benefit that artificial intelligence is bringing from everything from doing searches on Perplexity to helping write or edit documents, and they see so the organization, the leaders of the organization, saying, "I need to do this, or I will be left behind," and so that creates a situation where enterprises, they're anxious to find and adopt AI. They want to do it the right way. Some of them are maybe a little bit paralyzed. They don't know exactly what to do, but they are ready. Some studies, JLL did a survey of work, basically found that already 90% of businesses have plans to, in the next year, to implement some sort of AI, use AI to support their business processes. That's all enterprises. Now, for commercial real estate, the thing that is so unique about commercial real estate as compared to other types of business is they have been producing and amassing amazing amounts of data. Even in the old days, they were producing leases, they were doing market studies on geographic markets and trends and building and property sale, all this data. They didn't know what to do with it. It was unstructured. They were accumulating it. Now, with AI, they have a way to tap into this data like they've never been able to have before. So that's what makes it exciting today, is I think the leaders of all commercial real estate, whether they're owners or services firms, brokers and such, they see they have a unique value with this data. Now they have to figure out how to use it properly.
I think it's hard to, have a debate on the importance of the data in general, in the sphere of the business and technology, but especially with AI. And there is some misconception about AI. What should people actually expect from it?
Misconceptions. Well, the easy one is AI is going to take all the jobs. It's going to make maybe brokers obsolete or other commercial real estate professionals obsolete if AI can do everything. Someone looking for some property, they could just open a chat bot and it'll give them everything they need. And they can say, set up a tour and then, negotiate the deal and it's done. But it's many years down the road. And here's why I say that. The successful professional in commercial real estate, especially the brokers, they are master at relationship building, networking. They know who to talk to. They know what's happening in their market. They understand their market at a deep level. And they are the ones that make things happen. And so it isn't because of their great analytical skills. They're not coming out with masters in informatics and physics degrees or anything like this. It's because they're good. They're really good at networking. They're good at establishing relationships. AI is not going to do that for them. So, but what AI will do, help things happen faster. Like it'll give them access to their data, like we're talking about earlier. It'll help them inform their customers much more quickly about what's happening. Is this a good investment? Maybe you'd rather be here or there. It'll be like a looking glass into these copious amounts of data, and allow them to consume it, digest it, and present it in such a way that it really helps their customers feel good about the transaction that they're about to make. That's one misconception. Another misconception is that AI is just chatbots. That it's our experience with ChatGPT and Perplexity, that's really what AI is. And it's not. It goes much deeper than that. For example, commercial real estate companies, like I was saying earlier, they have huge amounts of data. Let's just imagine all the leases that have been executed over tens or 20s decades that they have all this data from, and to go through this data and get information from it, from the options to the conditions, to be able to suss out this information and use it, used to take huge amounts of time and effort. In fact, they would often not even make this effort because it's too expensive. And now, the middle-sized brokerages and other companies, they can use this as they need. So it's not just a chat GPT for helping you write a better email. It's actually figuring out ways where they can go in and dig deep into this data and do things with it that really matters in their business. Different companies that are already doing things with AI, these are our customers. We either worked with them many years ago or we're still working with them, but I'm always interested in what our customers are doing. And for example, Savills, they had an initiative and they worked with OpenAI to do this, where they took all their enterprise data and they pointed AI to it to index it and collect it in such a way that it's usable. And now brokers have a tool similar to a chat GPT where they can literally come in and request the type of information they need to build, say, an OM or to some proposals or things like this. And they become, I think the case study reported 10 times more productive being able to access this data, which is obviously also more pertinent to what their prospect or tenant or investor needs. So that's one example of what AI is doing. CBRE has they've launched something called Capital AI, a bit more on the analysis side of what AI can do, where it can produce investor and seller matching algorithms. And they can go back and they can see, looking at past transactions from their customers, and they can pull out some information about them that maybe they missed before, but when they have new property for sale, I think they've quoted that they've expanded their bidder pool by 20% just because they have these new ways of using AI to evaluate these types of bidding. So then you have it's not something we do a lot of, or maybe we don't do much of it at all, but JLL, they recently acquired a technology and they call it Hank. And it's building management, smart zones and things like this. And this has been something that's kind of been cutting edge for a long time in commercial real estate, but adding AI components to this has been able to take even another 20 to 40% savings. And it's really interesting stuff. Long story short, misconception is AI is just for editing documents. It's much deeper, much more than that.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing all these use cases, Todd. I think that's very insightful. I'm sure there is some additional information there on the internet to learn more about such use cases. That is a good thing. I mean, for inspiration, to get more ideas on how you can actually use this AI or AI agents in real life, and how can you apply them to your business. Still, I think there is some skepticism to AI. Maybe the leadership is excited about it, but the end user, say the broker, might not be so interested in using it. And you said about assistance in the terms of the accessing the data. But what about entering the data? Get an additional buy-in from the end users. So then company like commercial real estate firm can actually adopt it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
You're very good at posing some, really interesting questions about what's happening these days. So, we've been working with brokers and implementing, mostly CRM systems for a couple of decades now. And brokers are a tough bunch. They don't want to enter data.
Mm-hmm.
They see it as time consuming. They see it as not so critical to what they need to be doing. It's usually management driven, pushing something down on them. So I think it's natural to think brokers are going to also be resisting these, change like this. They might be cynical and skeptical from, maybe we even should expect that will be the case. I think it's going to be different this time, though. They're fiercely protective of their relationships, their networks, and the jobs that they do for their customers.
Mm-hmm.
They have quite a sizable ego, which actually helps them in this case, and we've experienced this difficulty as implementers of CRM systems in getting adoption. And it's not because one CRM is better than the other. They're all pretty much the same. And for the first CRM systems that we started working with back in 1996, compared to the ones that exist in 2022, I personally am very disappointed in how much progress they've made. Yeah, they look a little bit better, but they do the same things. They may have a few better integrations with, like email marketing systems, some better dashboard. But we had dashboards back in 2000 and 2005. Querying data has been very difficult in CRM systems, and I guess this is most enterprise systems. You almost have to understand what SQL is to build a query to find this data. And that's why brokers are like, I don't have time for this.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has time for this. So they're out. They see this. I think they see it as creating an opportunity cost for them doing what they do best, building those networks. And I think they will, if they don't understand it now, they will. AI is going to help them. It's going to step in alongside of them and make them better. They will be able to create marketing materials much more suited, almost tailored exactly to what the prospect is looking for, because it's so easy. If you understand what your customer needs and wants are, the AI can tailor that information. It can, maybe this is a negative word, but it can manipulate all the information in such a way where it's almost like a custom presentation for that particular prospect. And it can do all of these things that used to take weeks with the marketing department. It can now create these types of artifacts in minutes, maybe days, because of editing, but with far fewer levels of effort. Mm-hmm. And so brokers are going to appreciate that. Why? It's going to help them close more business. I think the brokers are going to come around fast. They're going to see this makes me do my work more effectively, definitely more quickly, and they will absolutely fear being left behind if they don't embrace this.
I hope that will ring some bells in the ears of our audience, especially brokers or whomever is using technology these days in their companies and thinking that maybe AI is still not around, maybe it's not for me, maybe I don't know. Well, we need to wait and see how others would implement them. Let them, make some mistakes, and we will learn from it later.
Yeah. One more thing I'm just thinking of, that just something we've been struggling with as a firm, again, trying to get our users to adopt the system, because even there's always been value with adopting a CRM system, even though it is something you have to operate. The user must operate the application. They have to put the data in. They have to ask some way in their query to get data out, run the report or let their boss know that, they can do the forecast. With AI agents, it makes it much, much easier. For example, you just concluded a call with your prospect. I think we're probably all pretty familiar with these note-taking bots. They join your call. You've created some sort of transcript, which is AI, actually. It's taking the transcripts, it's summarizing them, and it can suggest tasks. This is not the user operating the application. This is the application then saying, from your call, here are some notes, and based on this, these were the things you agreed to do for the prospect. Would you like me to set up these reminders, these tasks? Would you like me to assign something to the analyst in your department to do something? And so, I think there's a very strong, compelling case for the value that it will bring.
Mm-hmm. So obviously AI in this age can do a lot. And in the battle of AI agents and commercial real estate brokers, where do you think humans still win every game?
Let's think about it this way. If you could take the history of all, since the modern broker began, and you could pick the top 100 of them and bring them in a room and study them, what common characteristics you think you'd find from this top 100 group of brokers? The one that comes to my mind first and foremost is this exceptional ability to network and build relationships. The guys that we know that are very good, they are plugged in. They know who, they know what, they know what's happening in their cities. They know, what's happening in their local politics. They're probably, can name drop, celebrities and et cetera, et cetera. AI is never going to be that type of plugged in. I'm from Dallas, so I think we have 4 or 5 very successful commercial real estate companies that were founded by former Dallas Cowboys players. Roger Staubach is probably the one that everyone knows about the most. Emmett Smith started his commercial real estate brokerage. Daryl Johnston, Dallas Cowboy fullback. Sorry, it's been a while. Craig James, he wasn't a Dallas Cowboy, but he was a local celebrity football player for SMU, which, by the way, produces most of the brokers in Dallas. SMU. It's who you know. It's who you know. It's that's an important aspect. I think probably the ones that are very, very strong negotiators, they're the most successful. The ones that know how to get the best deal from the seller and the buyer, the tenant or whoever it might be. That can make sure the deal happens and gets the best deal. The most successful brokers know their market. Now you could say, why wouldn't AI know a market? But sometimes it's about knowing what's going to happen in the market. Like there's a feel, an instinct that AI probably doesn't have. Winds are blowing in one economic winds, or maybe there's some rumors of a new airport being built somewhere. This isn't information that AI is necessarily going to have at its fingertips, so to speak. A good broker will know. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, maybe you might think of some others, but I don't think AI plays those games as well as a human would in that case. And that's why I feel pretty strongly that AI is it's there to help. It'll help them build their proposals more quickly and easily. To me, it's the Tony Stark suit still, So, but I think the human wins very much in this game, which is still very relevant today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Concrete Voice. See you next time.